Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Coach Goes Back to College. This is week number 10 of college football, episode number 11 of Coach Goes Back to College. This is brought to you by the Sports Affiliation channel. If you have not done so already, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. Turn on those notifications so you never miss a beat anytime that we do go live or post up any of our content. Be sure to follow on Twitter or X at the Sports Affili for any updates over there, any of the live streams. So definitely be sure to check that out. And before we get going in too much, we're going to give a shout out to our sponsors, Better Vision. If you're looking at betting on any type of sports books, be sure to check out their app. It is up on Apple at this point in time, and I know they are working on getting it up on Android as well. Gives you a lot of different sports books kind of all in one place. And then also be sure to check out the Fantasy Football Advice Forum app as well. If you talk a little bit of college football over there, talk about some Devy or Dynasty prospects, they're not going to get too mad or throw any eggs at you at the same time as well. So if you're joining me for the very first time, typically this is the way that I structure the video, is going over a prospect to know for the week, my personal game of the week, and then my favorite prop of the week. This week, I am going to skip over the prospect to know. I didn't have quite as much time to research and dig into who I wanted to do this week. I'll talk about my personal game of the week for this week overall, which this game's going to have a lot of prospects in there too that we'll kind of mention briefly, and then go over to my favorite prop of the week. So without further ado, we'll get into that game of the week. It's going to be number 5 Washington going to USC to take on number 20 USC. Washington's 8-0, USC's 7-2. If USC loses this game, it's kind of a very, very detrimental season to them overall, and maybe even to Caleb Williams' stock at this point in time, which is kind of taking a dip versus some of these ranked teams as of late. And then on the Washington side, they need this win to stay alive in, the college football playoff scenario at this point in time. So definitely going to be a big game for them. We got 2 very good quarterback prospects, 2 potentially first-round draft picks in Michael Penix on the Washington side, Caleb Williams on the USC side. Michael Penix may or may not end up in the first round. He's definitely got a lot of talent. He's a little bit older of a prospect and gone through a lot of injuries. I did highlight him one of the previous weeks, so if you're interested in that, I will try to leave a link down in the description below, kind of highlighting which episode that was in as well. But for this game, number 5 Washington, number 20 USC. Once again, Washington is 3-point road favorites, which is something that you don't see all too often. And then we do have an over-under in this game at 76.5. You very, very, very rarely see that. USC is coming off a week where they played Cal, and I believe both teams scored over 50 points in that game. So definitely a chance that it's over. Not anything that I want to personally bet on at this point in time. If I was betting this game, maybe I'd do the Washington money line, but everything else is kind of staying out of this week. This game is set to air at 6:30 Central Time, 7:30 Eastern Time on ABC, so it should be a pretty good one there. There's a lot of talent on both these teams. From the Washington side, we've kind of talked about them a little bit before when they played Oregon. So we do have Michael Penix there. We have Roma Dunze at wide receiver. We have McMillan at wide receiver. Polk, who's played really well at wide receiver too as well. So, a lot of NFL talent, future NFL talent there. They got Braylon Trice at defensive end as well. Probably forgetting multiple guys on these teams, so no offense to any of them. And then on the USC side, obviously we got Caleb Williams that we talked about before. We got Marshawn Lloyd, who's been a prospect to know early on in the season, had a really good season so far. Brendan Rice at wide receiver, Jerry Rice's son. We got Mario Williams at wide receiver. We got Dorian Singer. We got a lot of different players there at that wide receiver position for them overall. Defense has kind of been the issue for USC so far this season, and a lot of Lincoln Riley teams in the past. So we'll see what this game ultimately looks like. Like I said, going to be a pretty interesting one. Going to be a lot of high-level prospects to watch at the very same time. But with that being said, we'll get over to my prop of the week. So last week we had CJ Donaldson over, I believe, is like 54.5 rushing yards against UCF, which he smashed the over. PrizePicks didn't even have his number right that he got to. At one point they said like 84. He had over 100 rushing yards. So it was an easy smash there. We're 5-5 on the season. We kind of had an up and down season, 2 tough luck losses to start, 3 in a row. Then we had one that we missed, then we hit, and then we missed, and then we hit again. So it's been kind of back and forth, but hopefully it's been profitable for you overall. This week is a week that I really don't like for props for college football so far. So I ultimately ended up on Ainias Smith over 63.5 receiving yards. So Ainias Smith is kind of the speedster for Texas A&M. Previously kind of played running back, gadget wide receiver, been used in a lot of different roles. Mainly been used at wide receiver this year. He's still a little bit of a gadget player there as well. He's kind of a guy that a lot of people thought was probably going to go off to the NFL last season, ultimately ended up coming back to Texas A&M for one more year. And he's hit the over in 3 out of his last 4 games, which were the games that Max Johnson has started this season. Max Johnson is the quarterback who replaced Connor Wegman, who did get hurt earlier on in the season. Max Johnson is also the son of Brad Johnson, who was a quarterback in the NFL for quite some time. Probably thought that he would have a little bit better career. He transferred over from LSU prior to last season. So it's been kind of interesting there. And then if you go back to the last 5 games for them, Ainias Smith has hit the over as well. He goes against Ole Miss this week. Should be a pretty back and forth game. Ole Miss is allowing 230 passing yards per game, so 230 receiving yards as well. And that's 59th in the nation. So kind of middle of the pack there. Not a lot that truly stood out to me this week. This is one that, I would have a little bit of confidence in, but I'm not going out of my way to play this week. Just kind of need one for the content. But, if I had to pick a favorite, this was one that kind of stood out. Another one that you might want to look at is Carson Beck over passing yards going against Missouri, who hasn't been that great against the pass this season as well. But with that being said, that's kind of the quick, short version of Coach Goes Back to College for week number 10, episode number 11. Do apologize that I didn't have a prospect to know this week. Maybe I can sneak 2 in one of these future weeks as well. If you are watching this video and you want me to highlight a certain prospect, be sure to drop it down in the comments and I will consider that and try to put it in a future video as well. But with that being said, that's all that I truly have at this point in time. Definitely do appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. Would ask that you do subscribe to the Sports Affiliation channel once again. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Also, be sure to leave any comments for college football week number 10 down below or reach out to me at Coach Craig Sports on Twitter. Definitely would love to talk some college football with you over there as well. And then last but not least, also be sure to check out my own personal channel, Coach Craig Sports. I do a ton of DFS related content over there right now. Got NBA 5 days a week. We got NFL 1 day a week. CFL just ended up. If you want to talk some college football DFS, don't really cover that for the video's sake, but if you want to talk about it, definitely feel free to reach out to me and I can go over that as well. And then last but not least, if you are into sports betting whatsoever, first of all, be sure to check out Better Vision so you get the best odds on the books that you're able to get to. And then second of all, be sure to check out the links down in the description below. PrizePicks, ParlayPlay, and BetUs. Those are the ones that I personally help promote. But at the same time, when you first sign up over there, you make your first deposit, you get a pretty good match on all 3 of those sites. So it helps you out a little bit as you start your sports betting, prop betting journey. Helps me out a little bit on the side. And once again, if you have any questions about that whatsoever, feel free to reach out, whether it's down in the comments or on Twitter. Would be more than happy to help you over there. But with that being said, that's all that I truly have at this point in time for this week's video. Definitely do appreciate each and every one of you tuning into this video. I know the rest of the Sports Affiliation crew does as well. But for me, Coach Craig, for week number 10 of college football, that's all I got. And hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day, no matter what day you're watching this on, and a great weekend overall filled with some college football.